my goodness. Good morning. Hello. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Utah LaVern. And yes, this is one street over. What's happening one street over from where you're living? Oh, I have a lot for you today. Katie Allen's here. Hi, sister.
Hi, sister.
Oh, my goodness. She's sitting here.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, Faith Friday. It's all good. Pull that microphone right to you. I don't want to miss a minute. She walked in, and it's so funny. I saw her out in saw her at Aldi's, and Jeff came up to me, and he was talking to me, and you see people out of place, and I'm like, okay, I know you, but I've only met your husband a couple of times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And then you yell at the car. I was like, oh yeah.
It's like, hey.
And it's like, but you see people out and about, and you're like,
I know you.
What happened to me? We went to the active shooter training that they did for teachers up in Nashville. And my friend Danielle from the Family Resource Center was there. But I walked past her, and I knew her, but I don't see her all the time, you know. And she's been on the show with me. But, we have a lot of different people. Unless you're one of my reoccurring guests, sometimes I'm out of place, and it's probably out of context. Since I had her on. And there was a bunch of people there from the county, like up in Rutherford County, where I did my teaching certification. And she was kind of sitting on that side of the room around them. And I thought, oh yeah, she's from the teaching thing I did. Because we got to know each other, but I haven't seen them since December. So you just kind of out of place. And so that was the kind of thing with Jeff the other day. And Danielle Fink comes up, she was like, LaVern, it's me. And I'm like, oh, you're right. So you have those kind of moments.
Absolutely.
And that kind of speaks to sometimes we're tired, distracted. And me, I was vulnerable, and something happened yesterday that I think I need to share with everybody. And I told Mark, I said, Katie's coming today. She's counselor. That's good, because I may break down.
Aww.
No, I'm okay. God's good. And I got scammed really bad yesterday, y'all. Really bad. And to the tune of about $5,500.
I'm so sorry.
And it seems so legit. And it's one of those things, guys, I'm going to be super, super honest about this. I'm so embarrassed. So embarrassed. How many of us have seen those news stories and we're like, how could people be so stupid? How could people let that happen? Because it's always like, never let, the IRS is never going to call you. People are never going to call you. You never give them your credit card number. Never go get cash and give it to somebody. Those kinds of things.
Sure.
Well, and I think Jessica Drake and our friends, and she's communications director for the sheriff's office. And I called her immediately after this happened. I said, Jess, I've just been scammed so bad. And she's like, I said, is there any recovery on this? Do you think we can get any of this back? She goes, probably not. She says, probably in another country. And she probably talked to me about gift card scams, but it just, we were talking about scams. I would never be scammed. It didn't really sink in, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
So I want you all to listen very carefully. I got an email from the school district at my you can get my email online. It's LaVern.Vivio at Robbins County Schools .net or whatever, so you can go on any school site and get a teacher's email.
Yes.
So I get an email from who I thought was Dr. Osborne, my principal, on Wednesday night. And it was saying, can you send me a number so I can text you? Okay. So I was tired. I was distracted. I was vulnerable.
Okay. All right.
Okay. You got to be careful.
There's your cocktail.
There's your cocktail.
Problems,
right? I was tired. I was distracted. I was vulnerable. It was late Friday. It was late Wednesday night. I had just been to this shooter training thing, and they talked about, so it's just the perfect circumstances, just kind of melded, all fell into perfect order. And, they had talked about the importance of communicating. My friend Paul was just going, LaVern, you did not. Yes, I did, Paul. Tell Mary, gather around. Y'all going to just, anyway. $5,500. Anyway, Lord's going to use it. Lord's going to use it. This is going to be a PowerPoint. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be teens.
Somebody needs to hear this today.
They need to hear this.
So
many people, and they need to hear this from now on. This will be a PowerPoint. The text I got that sucked me in will be a PowerPoint for my kids at Greenbrier High School, and I'll share it with anybody else that wants to see it, because I want you to just see the verbiage and how they pulled me in and convinced me that I was texting my friend, Dr. Osborne, and that I was totally helping her out. You just can't believe how vulnerable it is. And if I'm 62 years old and I've been in this industry my entire life, if I got sucked in when I was tired, distracted, and vulnerable, your children are all vulnerable. Get them off the screens. Get them off the screens. You have no idea what they're being subjected. This evil that will deceive you so quickly. And this is spiritual warfare too, without a doubt, because they knew how to play. I'm from an industry. We have no job security. Broadcasters have no job security at all. I was let go on a phone call after 28 years in the middle of my traffic shift. Okay. So when you're a broadcaster, you're always kind of sitting on edge thinking, ooh, so you're always on edge. So that's the world I've worked in my entire career. So when I get this text from who I thought was Dr. Osborne,
right,
on Wednesday night.
Did the email, or it was a text, was it an email first?
It was an email.
And so did it have her, did it have her school
name,
address?
But see, I didn't check it.
Okay.
And we get stuff, and they warn us.
Right.
But I was tired. I was distracted. Right. I was vulnerable.
Yeah.
It was late at night. And I had in my head this shooter training and the fact that I thought everybody needs to go to this because they taught us how to take a gun away from somebody. They taught us how to treat our kids, if God forbid, and keep them from bleeding out. The incredible things they taught us that could save our kids. I was like, why is not every teacher here? Why is not everybody here? And so I had that on my mind, and they kept talking about communication. And when I got that, so that perfect storm going on in your head again, that's that spiritual warfare. The evil one, boy, he knows when to come at you. And he knew, and so I thought, she's putting together a text list, just in my mind. And then that vulnerable part of me going, because there's some other stuff going on that kind of makes me feel a little job vulnerable right now. And I was like, oh man, I hope they're not doing cutbacks. I hope my job's okay.
Right.
Yes. Those kinds of things.
Yes.
This is when they would do it. If they're just going to be like, oh, we just can't afford it. We're going to, because I've heard they're cutting some of the,
Gotcha.
You hear rumors about they're going to cut some programs and all this kind of stuff, because of defunding and all that, all those.
Yeah.
So in that vulnerability of, well, my boss wants to talk to me, and she's texting me. Ooh, it must be something private. It must be something.
Right. They give you that sense of urgency,
Mm-hmm. And then, too, people are like, well, did you not have her number? At one point, I did. But something else has happened with my phone over the last 6 months to a year. About 3/4 of my contacts have been deleted from my phone.
Okay.
And I've been into Verizon 2 or 3 times trying to recover them from the cloud. I think your number's one.
I think so. We had that problem a couple months ago.
Yeah, and I've texted a lot of people and said, "Hey, I'm sorry I haven't been in contact. My contacts got deleted." And sometimes I wonder if that's not part of this. If somehow or another they didn't. I think it was I don't know. I don't know what happened with my contacts. So a lot of my contacts have disappeared. So when I got a text yesterday morning. That said, "Hey, it's Katie.
Yeah,
can you give me a hand? Dr. Osborne,
right?"
And central office is just a couple of miles from me, and I knew how busy everything was. And I had also just gotten an email about one of our longtime teachers that was leaving, and I knew several others that were leaving. I knew they were coming up on the end of summer school, and it may have even ended last week. But I thought, well, summer school's ending. I know they're in meetings. They're so busy. We're so short on teachers. All the things going in my head. So I get a text from who I thought was Dr. Osborne yesterday morning about 9:30. And the reason I want you to hear this is because somebody else may be about to lose some money today. So please listen. So I get this text, and it says, I can read it to you, man. It's just like, wow, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've got just all these texts, and it's like, I feel so stupid, so embarrassed. But again, I was tired, I was distracted, and I was vulnerable. Hi, LaVern, I hope all's well. Whenever you get a chance, I'd appreciate a quick reply. Katie Osborne. That's it. Okay. Got that. I was like, sure. Do you need to speak with me? Because that's again that I'm like, my boss needs to talk to me. Uh-oh. Are you available? I'm tied up in a meeting right now, and I need you to help attend to something real quick. Yes, call me. Call me when you can. I'm planning a surprise for some staff members and would love your help. Could you discreetly purchase some gift cards from a nearby store? Your confidentiality is greatly appreciated to keep the surprise under wraps. Absolutely. What do you need? And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I know that teacher just stepped down, and and she's been there forever. I bet she wants to get her a gift card. Because we use gift cards in the district a lot.
Okay.
They reward you with gift cards for perfect attendance and sometimes pretty high dollar ones. A lot of times just $25, but sometimes $100, And I mean, somebody that's been a long time teacher and somebody that had to teach summer school, I could see them doing a couple $100, a nice little gift.
Yeah.
Because you had to give up half of your summer. I could see that, I could see that. Can you get to any store soon? I'd like to know what available options and the prices on them. I said, I'm going to Lowe's in a couple hours, and I'm thinking that they have a selection. I could stop by Aldi's too. I think they have some. If you need them more quickly than that, I can go out. I can even stop by Walmart. It's really no big deal. I don't have anything pressing today. We're just doing some remodeling on the house. All right. This is a reply. Text me once you get to the store. Can you send me some pictures of the cards in the stand? Because I think I'm picking up a couple of gift cards for her. Get the Apple gift cards. I sent her the picture. Again, I thought I was texting my boss. And then we go back and forth. Can you put $250 on a couple of Apple cards and then I even said, hey, do you want me to get a couple of gift bags and greeting cards? Yes, that would be great. Get 5. And I was like, you want 5 gift bags and greeting cards? Yes. But just two gift cards. Yes. I was like, okay. And then again, it just kept going on and going on.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing something. And it just kept going on. We're in a meeting. We really want to do something big for the staff. And so again, coming up on the end of summer school.
Sure.
I thought, okay, because they had this one time where they said, pick your gift card. What kind of gift card would you like as a reward?
Oh, okay.
That would happen.
Right.
It happened with my husband at Springfield. It's like, what kind of gift card would you like? And you got to pick something.
Yeah,
so I could see getting the variety. Anyway, this went on off and on all day. Oh, we're gonna need about 6 more. Can you go get us some cards? And I went to Dollar General, and they're like, God bless you. I'm going to find out who the clerk was at Dollar General that said, this could be a scam. Do you think? I was like, no, it's my boss. I said, I've got a text. They're wanting me to help them out. They're in meetings all day. We've been texting back and forth.
Yeah.
And they questioned it. The woman at Lowe's questioned it. Right? At Walmart, I only bought a couple. I mean, I bought a couple in the morning and a couple later in the day.
Okay. Well, that tells me this is something they've seen a lot. I mean, it's not just you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they
exactly. Yeah. But when I went in and bought 6 at one place, they're like, "Are you sure about this?" I'm like, "Well," I said, "Don't tell me about it, but I think it's for the summer school teachers." I said, "But if you know any summer school teachers, don't say anything." They told me to be really quiet about it.
Gotcha.
Just sucked me in. And then they would have you. They said, "Okay." They said, "I want you to scratch it off and send us a picture with the receipt." Because we've got to plug it in. And the reason why that didn't seem completely amiss to me is because, and again, I may have this sort of wrong, but I worked for a church for 7 years. I worked at Madison Church of Christ. We have a big benevolence program. We serve the homeless community. We serve a lot of people that just have a lot of struggles. Yeah. And I kind of remember at one point us handing out some gift cards to some people and us doing that to make sure they could not trade them for drugs. Because they had, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To make them, and it just, I thought, didn't we do that? And I thought, well, it's probably something to do with accounting. They need the numbers to do with the bookkeeping. Again, tired, distracted, and vulnerable. Those were the keys. I was tired, distracted, I was vulnerable. Called a friend of mine, and I was telling her what was going on. And I was like, I can't believe that they're asking me to do this. She goes, they don't need to be asking you to do this. But then they actually sent me a text saying we're gonna pay you, for your time in your gas today. We're gonna pay you for today. I was like, okay, that's fine. And how do you want us to reimburse you? Want us to write a check, cash? I said, well, you can Venmo me, whatever. A couple of times I was talking about reimbursing me,
right?
And I've got all the receipts together. Well, can you put them in the bags and get them ready so we can just swing by and get them, and then we'll sign the cards later. And so I sent them. I was like, okay, I've got these all gift bagged up. This went on and on. I feel so stupid. Again,
Well,
tired, distracted, and vulnerable. See, I was like, once I got them all bagged up, I was like, yeah, here I got the big gift bags ready.
okay.
Gift bags already. See, here we go. Got them all bagged up. Tissue paper in there. Got them all bagged up.
Great.
Got them all bagged up. Ready to go. When are we meeting? I even went, at one point, I said, are you at central office? Because I thought that she must be asking me to do this because she must be right here and knows that I live just a couple of miles from central office.
Yeah.
And she was, no, I'm at the school. I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, And I was on the phone with my friend and I said, man, I got to go to Greenbrier. They're asking you to come to Greenbrier. Come on. You've got to tell them, tell them, no, you can't do this. You're working on your house. Yeah. And I'm like, I just want to help. They're under so much pressure. I like to help people.
Yeah.
I like to help people. And I was like, it's really not that big of a deal. And at one point, my friend said, LaVern, you've just got to stop. And she goes, you just got to tell them you can't do this. And I'm like, I'm into it this much. It's not that big of a deal. And then I also said, you know what? I can put this on my Southwest card and I'll get flight points.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was like, they'll reimburse me. I'm going to make some
and I get some
time.
Right. Yeah.
Going to make some flight time. All the things. I was distracted. I was tired. I was vulnerable. Mm-hmm. People, please hear me. Do not send anybody gift card numbers. I don't care who you think they are, who you think the friends are. If you, it's just, it's a scam, and I should have known better. I feel stupid. I'm embarrassed, but I'm going to tell you right now, as stupid and as embarrassed as I am, I'm going to use this to teach my kids, if they can suck me in, and I am not stupid. I don't have dementia. I don't have anything going on.
Right.
It's not because I'm old. It was because I was tired, I was distracted, and I was vulnerable. And our children are so vulnerable. Get them off these screens.
Yeah.
Get them off these screens. Because the people out there are fishing constantly to reel you in. They knew details. How did they know to put me and Katie to get? Well, all they got to do is get on a school website and know this is my principal.
Right.
This is my principal. If I looked carefully at the email, it was obviously not. It was a Gmail.
Okay.
It was a Gmail.
Yep. I would tell people out there, that's your first thing. Look at the email where it came from.
And because all my contacts had been, some of my contacts had been deleted, I didn't have her number in my phone.
Right.
And I talked to her last night, and she's like, she goes, I'm so sorry, LaVern. I said, it's not your fault. I said, it's just, everybody keeps saying, I'm so sorry. It's like, I appreciate it. But, it's like this. I lost $5,000. Somebody else could lose their life savings on this. Yeah. Somebody I remember forwarding a couple of scams that people had called my mother and pretended to be one of my sons.
Wow.
And, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I would think, oh, mother, no, it happened to me. It happened to me. And again, I am so embarrassed. I feel so stupid. But it wasn't what I did, it's what was done to me at a time when I was tired, distracted, and vulnerable.
They took advantage of your
I just wanted to help.
Right, your good nature. Yeah. They took advantage of your desire to want to help somebody.
And I trust people. I give them the benefit of the doubt usually. Yeah. God's blessed me. I don't mind helping out. Right. Sure. Yeah, I could cover that. It's okay. Just write me a check later. It's no problem.
Right.
It's no problem. I'll get some flight miles. I'll put it on my Southwest card. I'll get some flight miles. And I might be able to get some recovery for fraud on some of the cards because there is a fraud protection. Mm-hmm. But because I bought the cards myself, it wasn't somebody got my card number. And then, I protect my card number like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
I just sent them that. I just sent them all those little card numbers. I got sucked in so bad. But,
well,
it's just like, and Paul Rainey just told me, he said he had somebody send him money through his Venmo account that he didn't know, and they were trying to get his bank account information.
Yes.
Somebody sent him something through Venmo. See?
And you don't know them?
Yeah.
No.
Delete it.
Yes.
They're trying, man, Paul. See, you see what they're doing to us, guys?
Because it looks very tempting. If it's got an amount of money, here's some money for you.
Hey, here's $20. It's free money.
Yeah.
Free money.
Yeah.
Oh, they just, they saw me. I mean, they sucked me in so bad, guys. And I am not stupid. I'm not. Well, but I was tired, distracted, and vulnerable.
Well, thanks for sharing that, though, because, somebody out there today you may have saved their, you said, their life savings.
Well, and it's
$few dollars.
And it's like Mark, my husband, he said he was so angry last night. He calmed down. God bless him. He actually, like I said, at one point I said, I just need you to pray over me.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was so sweet. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so angry. He goes, I'm just so mad. He goes, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad that this could happen. How could they put you together? And I saw it's public information.
They just
all
go fishing.
Get on school website.
People just go fishing for stuff, like they call it. They fishing. Yeah.
And it's like there was a couple of things that were shared in the text because Katie is a farm girl like me. They run a big farm. And there was something I said in the text that was kind of something that was farm related. I don't want to say because I don't want to put that in for, I'll tell you later off mic.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put that out there, but it's something that's pretty typical of farmers. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, I've got that.
Isn't that amazing? And that's really scary that they can little details.
And at the point, because it would be a couple of hours, and it's like, oh, we're sitting here talking. We could really use. Can you go get 6 more gift bags together? Don't forget to get some gift bags and some gift cards. Put those together for us, and then send us pictures of them, and so we'll plug them in. Like they're doing accounting stuff. Yeah. Like they were all meeting. They were having this big meeting. I got sucked in really bad. And I was just trying to help. Because I see you, if you're not in education, you have no idea what goes on and the meetings and the paperwork and the just red tape that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. And I just absolutely, I was just like, I can help. I'm right here. I'm just a couple of miles from it because I thought this was all happening there. And then when I went up to Greenbrier, there's still so many cars in the parking lot. I was like, and I even texted it one time. I said, can you please just come out here and get these? Because I can't meet you later. I've got some work to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm in a meeting and I can't send anybody out, because then the surprise will be blown. I was sitting in the Greenbrier parking lot and got that text.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I don't want to blow the surprise. I was tired. I was distracted. I was vulnerable. Anyway.
Well,
don't do it, y'all.
Don't do it.
Gift card scam. And Jessica, I'm sorry. I mean, she's probably, like I said, we talk about this. Jessica Drake, I was telling you from Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
She probably even mentioned gift cards at one point. I was just like, well, I would never buy a bunch of gift cards and take them and hand them to somebody. I did. But I thought it was.
Talking to somebody that you know.
And I thought I was helping them out.
Yeah.
It seemed totally legit to me.
Yeah.
And again, the timing right here at the end of summer school.
Right.
All these teachers that have given up half of their summer. I mean, they give out that if you have perfect attendance, I've seen them give out $100 gift cards. The district.
Right.
And, I could see somebody that's been with us for, a long time getting a couple $100. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that. Yeah. I could totally see that. Incentives and things like that. And I could also just see Dr. Osborne. She's just very kind-hearted. Doing this herself. Maybe not all of it, but my husband even said at one point, he goes, they're going to reimburse you, right? I said, oh yeah. I said, Katie will make sure I get reimbursed. I said, I guarantee you, if she has to write it out of her own pocket, she'll make sure I get reimbursed. I'm not worried about getting reimbursed.
Yeah.
And then last night he goes, it was getting late and they're like, we're still in this meeting. I'm like, oh man, God bless you. Poor things.
See, yeah.
Because I've talked to Dr. Weeks has been in here when they've had long meetings that go into the night.
Yeah.
And so I could see it happening. Right here at the end of summer school before they get their break, and they're in a long meeting. And he goes, I'll drive you and we'll talk. And I had gone in and gotten a few more cards. They didn't get those. So I've got some. Okay. Anybody wants a gift card that you can use at Cracker Barrel or Old Navy, let me know and take one off my hands. It'd be nice. I'm actually going to reach out to Lowe's management and see if there's some way I can get reimbursed for the ones that I did not
hand over.
scratch off.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't know that there is, and I mean the policy is, but because your people were good, Lowe's, your people were good, Dollar General, and again Walmart. I just bought a couple, so I think they would have flagged it too.
Yeah.
But those were the two stores, and they questioned me. There was this woman at Lowe's. I've got to go find out her name. She kept questioning me, and I'm like, oh, it's okay. I said, it looks like we're laundering money, doesn't it? Yeah.
So they've seen that. I mean, like that tells me that you're not the first. And
well, I even took my teacher badge in at one time. I'm like, yeah, really, I'm doing this for my principal. See, I'm a teacher. They got me. Well, I got a really nice piece of evidence curriculum that I can show the kids just how they get you. Because with kids, what they'll do, kids maybe they're not tired and distracted. They're not like us adults, have all the pressures and all that. Super vulnerable, and they're super lonely.
Yeah. And
they're getting, when they're on those screens, they're getting those messages. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, send me a picture just for me. I'm a 16-year-old boy. Ugh. I'm a 16-year-old girl. You're so cute. Ugh. Send me a picture. Ugh. And they know things because all they got to do is get on your social media and they learn about it. It doesn't take much.
Right. Anybody
to suck you in, these kids.
Right.
And they're telling you something. And then they'll be like, oh, send me a picture. And I'd really love that picture. Why don't you send me that? And the minute they do, I've got you. Send me more or I'm going to turn you. Oh, can you imagine what they're going to do whenever they realize that you've done this?
Yeah.
They start blackmailing them.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, in our district, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them. And so if I can take this, put it up on a PowerPoint and say, I want you to read this, kids.
Right.
And you look at what they knew about me and Dr. Osborne and how they connected us and how they took advantage of my vulnerability because I was tired and distracted.
Yeah.
Do you think they're doing it to you? Do you think they might be telling you something that's not true? Get your kids off the screens.
Guaranteed.
Get them off of it. Yeah. Get them off. Your kids have no business having a phone when they're young. I know when they get older, you want it for security and all that kind of thing. Lock it down, please. They are what they're doing to our kids with this stuff. When you're not paying attention, when they're vulnerable and they're lonely, is the same kind of thing they did to me when I was tired, distracted, and vulnerable. All they got from me was money. They're getting a whole lot more from our kids. And I'm going to use this to show our kids,
Yeah.
But anyway, counselor, what would you say to me?
Well,
I'm to you and I'm coming.
Well, I feel like such an idiot. Hearing your story, I saw several times in there where you kind of made up a narrative in your head as you went along. It's almost like you knew something in the back of your mind that was like, this doesn't sound quite normal for a Thursday in June.
Yeah.
But you would kind of sort of come in with like you were kind of creating this narrative that was, you didn't know for a fact that's what it was, but you could make it seem plausible with some ideas. Well, I do know that they're in meetings sometimes, but I think we all do that. I think we all read into things because that's just, it does help us get things done sometimes, right? In life, we read things, I can assume that that's probably going to happen today because, whatever. So, but I did kind of as you were telling that story, you're like, well, I can justify why she asked this because A, B, C, and D were happening or whatever. Yeah. And also another thing I think maybe to take into consideration and I've had to do this too, is a supervisor should not ask a subordinate to go out and purchase things.
Right.
Just that power differential thing. So it shouldn't. So but when you're vulnerable, like you said, you're kind of like from a background, right? Yes,
I was trying to help my friend
but
out.
Then also when it's coming from like a place of business or in the school setting, it's not really ethical for a subordinate to go, hey, can you just go out there and spend some money? And she didn't do that, right? Katie was not involved in
at all. She's mortified.
Right, exactly.
She's so
that's kind of a red flag too. I think when you get something like that, you're like, you know what? I just maybe I don't. Mm-hmm. The company I work for, we kind of get irritated with them because they always send out these phishing scam emails.
Yeah.
Like, and so if you fail, because usually when I got to the point where like they do it so often, I just don't listen to anything. I click, whatever. But there have been a couple times when you'll fail. You're fishing, they'll like throw something at you, kind of like that in your email, and then it's like rah, rah, you failed, so you have to go back to like a refresher course.
Testing you.
Yeah. So we always like kind of go, oh, here I go, whatever.
Yeah.
But I did delete my little gift from them at Christmas because I thought it was a phishing scam. But whatever.
Funny.
But that's okay. I'd rather do that than
Yeah.
But But you know what, LaVern, it happens, and they are getting better. Whoever they are out there, are getting better all the time at getting just
And again, like I said, I got to tell you guys, I'm being super vulnerable here now.
Absolutely.
Because what I was talking to the sheriff's deputy,
that.
and the sheriff's deputy last night, I don't have his name in front of me. God bless you. You were so good to us. My husband was so mad. He's like, your husband needs to call. He's like, I know. He's like, and he goes, honestly, he goes, I get it. He's frustrated, know.
Oh yeah.
And he wanted somebody to come out right now and come help us.
Right.
And he's like, there's nothing we can do.
Right.
And he goes, I know he's frustrated. We're not there in, coming physically, but he goes, there's really nothing we can do. And I guess my husband was like, okay, because they were still texting me last night about 9:00.
Yeah.
And wanting to know, hey, have you got those cards? And I was like, hey, we'll finish in the morning. You can come by the radio station and pick them up. Because they even said that at one point. I said, hey, come by the radio station and get them in the morning. And I thought, because I was like, I said, are we still going to meet? They said, it's getting kind of late. And, yeah, it is. I said, we're going to have, dinner, and we'll get them in the morning. And I was like, that sounds good. We'll just finish up in the morning.
Yeah.
But that's before I realized what was going on.
Right.
And it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But, expensive lesson. But one, I think that hopefully will save some other people. And, again, it's not my life savings. So, but for some people it would be.
Right. And so,
there's a whole lot of things I would rather do with that money. We're getting a little bonus from the district, this year. Mine just went out the window, so I was like, I was thinking, save up. I could have gone to Israel on that money, I'm like,
well,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Because the mileage I'm going to get out of this with my kiddos.
Yes.
Showing them just how they manipulate you through social media and things like that. You know what? If it was very inexpensive if it saves some kiddos and if it saves somebody. Yeah. So I'm fine. But spread the message, y'all. U-turn got scammed big.
Well,
big. And anybody who says, oh, it could never happen to me, yes, it could.
Yeah, because they're evolving these things.
Yes.
They're getting fancier and more slick and
you better believe
sleek.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, hopefully it'll only just be money. But for our kids, it's always a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it. That's the thing. I guess that's really the bottom line of all of this is how clearly it illustrates to me how quickly they can suck our kids in. Because I see kids like this all the time.
Absolutely.
All the time. All the time.
Yep.
And you think you've got locks on this thing? You think you've got these things locked down? And I've seen it. My grandkids, sometimes they're pitching a fit somewhere, and I just want to let me show them the bird video. No.
Yeah.
My kids are pretty strict on what they let their kids. But I see so many, so young.
Yeah.
Like this. What are they looking when you're not looking?
Yeah.
What are they looking at when you're not looking? I'm telling you guys, get your kids off these screens because they are fishing for your kids just like they fish for me, and they hooked me yesterday. So I don't know, Katie. This is
right.
I've been talking about Katie Osborne, Dr. Osborne, my principal, but she was victimized too because they've been using her name to fish and do this stuff.
Yeah.
And so she was, victimized as well.
Sure.
And she's just sick over it. She's like, and I'm like, it's okay, Dr. Oz, Katie. And because again, she's my friend. She's my principal, but she's my friend. And I thought I was helping her out. But anyway, I tell you, it's just, but I don't know. What else you want to talk about?
Oh, wow. No,
my
you're
goodness.
right. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing it because that takes
Well,
a lot of vulnerability just to share that story.
Well,
so
and I've
I
reached
appreciate it, and you have helped somebody today,
and Nick Barris,
or they'll share that with somebody. Well, it's okay, but
Nick Barris is a friend of mine that has he's at Channel 5, and I've reached out to him, and I'm like, man, if you want to tell this story, Nick, I'll tell it.
Okay.
I'm embarrassed, but I'll tell it because somebody needs to hear
yeah,
this.
absolutely.
I don't know that because they do a lot of scam stories, that
Right.
kind of stuff because it
Yeah.
happens. But it usually the people it happens to are people that are like, oh, it's somebody older, it's somebody this, and I'm older, but
Well, you also
I'm not your typical victim of this. So I really think people need to hear it. I know Bill Cody's out at the Trasher Treasures out in Cross Plains. I may go out there and say, hey, Bill, you want to hear a story?
Yeah.
And just share it because the more people that hear this right now, if I can save somebody, because yesterday morning I had a lot more cash than I do today, a lot more.
Yeah.
So,
and I think you said it to you when you were tired, and I do not make good decisions when I am tired, and I have, I feel like you're feeling under pressure.
Yeah.
And you feel like I got to get something done. I'm on a deadline, or I've got to get this done by Friday, and it's Tuesday night. I should be getting this. Yeah. So
very, very much so. And again, guys, just please, please, please just learn from my story. Learn from my story and don't get sucked into this. I just, again, and you can share it, far and wide because I want to save somebody else from it. And because I just, I hate, I'm sick over it, but it's money. It's not anything that's going to ruin me. Again, I would have liked to have, taken a trip, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not my mortgage money,
No.
for some people, and it would be, and it would be everything. I mean, you see so many people, you hear about their entire life savings gone. So I don't know, but
and you know what? The Lord will. I don't know if He'll use this, but whatever it was, He protected you. I mean, it didn't go any further than what it did.
Yeah.
And
well,
He'll provide. I mean, for whatever. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And I was telling Dr. Osborne last night. I said to her, I said, I said, we say this a lot, and so because I'm very involved in Celebrate Recovery, I lead I'm part of the leadership team. There's a whole team of us, Paul Rainey, all of them included, Muriel Barnett, so many of us that work in Celebrate Recovery, Mary and Muriel, and so many others. But we run the Celebrate Recovery at the Madison Church of Christ. But one of the things we like to say a lot of the times is scripture where it's like, all things work for good for those who love the Lord. Mm-hmm. And so many people are like saying, but, things are hard, some hard things. I said, well, you got to remember that scripture says all things will work for good for those who love the Lord. But it doesn't say all things are good.
Right. Right.
Sometimes very hard things happen, and the Lord will use the hardest thing for good. He will use the hardest thing for good if you will let Him.
Yes.
So that's what I choose to do with this, is to let Him use it for good.
Yeah, and
Uh-oh. They're texting me, y'all, right now.
Ooh.
Live. I'm serious.
We should mess with this.
Huh? I don't know what to do. I wish I could get somebody from TBI to go, they're still texting me.
Well,
what do I do?
Well,
I'm live on the radio. I don't, but I am getting a text right now from the scammers, y'all. Right now. And it's one that says, it's from Katie. Hey, how are you doing today? Good morning. That's what they're saying. I'm afraid to I would love, I don't know if there's any way TBI can get a hold of this and message them. Because my husband, Mark, was even saying, he was like, LaVern, I don't know if you need to talk about it on the air because they're liable to know that you're on to them and maybe somebody can take this number. I think they're probably in another country or something. You know what I mean?
They might be.
So anyway, I don't know.
Wow. I almost want to say, hey,
What would you say?
I would say hi. I'm live on the radio right now.
Well, I don't know.
Is that a good? I don't know.
Text them for me and just
No.
say, okay. I don't know what to do. I mean,
What if you? I don't know. Say
I don't know,
I'm
'cause
I'm live on the radio. Would you like to Would you like to be interviewed?
I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm saying working. Can't talk. I'll text you when I'm finished. Can't talk at the moment. Talk at the moment.
Maybe.
I will text you when I'm finished.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I am finished. Okay. Oh, hang on. I don't know what to do here. This is crazy. I mean, it is crazy. I would love for somebody to get a hold of this and get these people. Can't talk at the moment. I'll text you when I'm finished. Just leave it at that, so I can kind of string them along for a minute.
Okay.
But that's one thing. One of the credit card companies, because Discover, man, you're awesome. Because my Discover card I used for a couple of the purchases, and they said, we do have fraud insurance, and even though you made the purchases, there might be some recovery in that.
Okay.
So they were super helpful, and they took this number. They said, can you give us the number of who scammed you? And I gave them the phone number.
Okay.
The police took the phone number. So a lot of people have that phone number.
Okay.
And the email address that came in the Gmail that supposedly is supposed to be my principal. So they're working on it.
Okay.
But, like I said, very expensive lesson, but my word, I've learned, and we're going to use this. We're going to please spread the word of what happened to me. Please spread the word. Spread the word. And just remind people, never send anybody an image of a gift card code or anything like that, because that's what they're using. There's no reason to do that. Like I had some scenarios in my head where I was like, well, that sounds reasonable. And again, had it not been for my experience at working with the homeless community,
right. And so that was one of those instances where you took something from your past. Okay, that I can rationalize that because of this, but totally.
And I don't even know that that's exactly what we did, but I do know that we were real careful about giving out gift cards in the community because we wanted to make sure they were used to help feed their kids.
Yeah.
And not used, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I can't remember exactly, but there was something we did, and I was like, okay, I think that's kind of what we did with that because we didn't want them to try to cash them in or something. I don't know. It just that's the spiritual warfare part of it to me, is because there's a I believe very clearly there's a war in the heavenlies, guys. And one of my friends from the Benevolent Center, Tim Martin, he's passed away, but he used to call him Old Ugly. He goes, Old Ugly. He knows how to manipulate us. Old Ugly. So Old Ugly knows what he knows how to mess with me. And so, I clearly, I mean, it seemed reasonable to me at the time, and now I'm looking at it, I was like, how could you be so stupid, LaVern? It's not what I did; it's what was done to me. I was tired, I was distracted, and I was vulnerable. Don't let it happen to you, guys. Don't let it happen to you. It's an expensive lesson, but yeah, they're texting me right now. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, so anybody in law enforcement, they're on the phone.
There they are.
You want to talk to them? I don't think there's not really much they can do. We've got some friends with the TBI that we're going to call first thing this morning. As soon as I get off the air,
yeah, okay, good.
We're gonna make a couple of phone calls and say, we got them on the line right now. Is there anything we can do? To reach out? I don't know that there is, but. Anyway, they're still fishing this morning.
Wow.
I thought that last night I thought, they know I'm on to them.
Yeah.
But apparently not. They think I'm still being pulled in. So I need to do an ad. I need to talk about, I've got my Martha Song shirt on, so I wore this. See, Penny, I wore my shirt. Penny Callis is my friend. She is the proprietor of the gallery, been my hairdresser for, 35 years, a long time. My sister, she is sister in Jesus. I sometimes say my sister, and people are like, I didn't know that was your sister. My sister in Christ, y'all. But anyway, they have a program called Martha's Song that raises money to help cancer patients in Robertson County. So if you're somebody that has cancer, you can reach out to Martha's Song, and there is a grant that they'll give you. I want to say it's like $500 that they give you just for anything that you need. Just to help.
Wonderful. That's
just
wonderful.
to help. Martha was somebody that lost her battle with cancer, was a good friend of Penny's, and they've been doing this for a long time. And now to raise money, they have the Seeds of Hope Garden Tour. And you can go online and buy, I think it's a $25 ticket, and there's a self-guided tour that you can go on to beautiful gardens. Oh my goodness, beautiful gardens. And it's self-guided, and you can go tomorrow and go to all these different gardens, but you can go to Martha's Song on Facebook, and I'll be sure and share a link here. But even if you can't go on and make a donation. I mean, buy tickets and give them to somebody, or just go on and make a donation. This is their big fundraising period, and it's such an amazing cause. I lost my sister and my mom to cancer, and there were constantly things coming up that costs and things that you just don't think about.
Right.
And I've had so many friends that have survived cancer. Just the money out of pocket that you don't even think about. Please go and support this cause. But that's what this shirt's all about. Martha's Song. That's what the Bluebirds over here. We would flock people around town where, and that was a fundraiser too. And but this is, and the birds. If you see the Bluebirds out tomorrow, that means that's one of the garden stops.
Oh, okay.
So if you see the Bluebirds, you can pull in there and you can get your tickets there, and then you can get the whole list of gardens, but you can get them online at Martha's Song. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick and get you exactly where the, just Martha's Song. If you go to Martha's Song, it will pull up, and it will give you the link to the Seeds of Hope Garden Tour. And you can get your tickets there. So please go on and be a part of that. Want to remind you, too, to go see Little Shop of Horrors tonight and tomorrow night. One of our students, Tyler Monroe, is one of the stars in it from Greenbrier, and he is fabulous. The entire cast is fabulous. But that's tonight at 7, tomorrow, 2 o'clock. They're doing a matinee and then a 7 p.m. show. But that is Little Shop of Horrors at the Coopertown Middle School. So you need to get to that. You also need to go to Trash and Treasures that's happening out in Cross Plains. Now, they're setting up right now. Bill Cody's out there doing his show right now from WSCM. And you can go by and see him. And you've also Barry and Rebecca Richards, our longtime, full-time sponsor here at One Street Over. We love them so much. They'll have a booth out there. And Barry says, come out. We'll have lots of chairs in the shade. And if you go to their Facebook page, if you go to Rebecca's Facebook page, there's a funny picture of them going, wonder what we're going to have a drawing for at the Trash and Treasures. You see them standing here, Katie. You see them standing by these giant chickens.
Yes.
So they more than likely, Barry and I wish you could see this silly picture of them. I'm going to turn it around for social media posts. But it says, we're looking forward to the annual Cross Plains Trash and Treasure event. I wonder what Barry and Rebecca are planning to give away. And it's this big giant chicken, and I think they gave one of those away. They gave away some little things, like something similar at the Kilgore Session Bluegrass Festival. But I think they're going to have a giant chicken to give away, y'all. So go see them.
I want
go
one of
sign
those.
up.
Jeff won't let me get one of those.
I love it.
I know. Hey, so
okay, go for it.
Yeah, I'll let you. There's LaVern said she might have some. Not LaVern. Lee Marie may have some information there about fraud alerts.
I have something to recovering fraud money if LaVern. Absolutely. Thank you.
Do you want to put her on the? Yeah.
Let me finish my ad. Let me give her a call real quick.
All right.
Okay. Hang on, Lee Marie. Let me see if I can figure it out, sweetheart. But let me finish my ad real quick and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards. Like I said, we got a lot going on, I know, but we want to remember Barry and Rebecca, they are so awesome in the real estate community. If you want to be a realtor, it'd be a great time. Go out to Trash and Treasures and sit down at the table. They'll be in their tent, and you can talk to them about it. If you want to get a market analysis of your property so you know how much equity you have, you can go and talk to them about that. You don't have to be buying or selling. But if you're thinking about buying or selling, they can talk to you exactly about what to expect. If you want to buy, they can tell you, you've got to figure out how much home you can afford. What will you qualify for? And they can answer all those questions for you. Rebecca's been at this a long time, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. We talk about Barry being that marketer. A marketer came up with this picture of the big giant chicken and said, I mean, that's a marketer for you, right? But he is expert at marketing your property when it comes to drone footage, walkthrough tours, videography, photography that's going to make it pop off the page and is going to help you get your property sold. He's going to help you find exactly what you're looking for. They're masters at this, guys. He has the brokerage office here in Springfield. She has an agency office up in White House. And together they are Exit Prime Realty. You can give them a call. Here's Rebecca's number, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Or you go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-I, robertsoncounty.com. And please let them know always that you turned sent ya. Okay, so Katie, talk about something while I try to figure out if I can call her.
How about that? There you go.
That table's not attached. I don't know if I
No,
told
it's
you
not.
or not.
Now I know.
That's
Let's see. Oh, you know what? So I did have a verse, and I'm not, I don't want to necessarily always try and put verses from the Old Testament onto today's situations, but I do think the context of a verse can be helpful. So,
yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm at a loss for words here. So Genesis 50:20. As for you, what you intended against me for evil,
Amen.
God meant it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. And this is Joseph, obviously, talking to his brothers who had sold him into slavery and had, whatever. And he ends up obviously being, like the second in command in Egypt. And then they come groveling back to him for help so they don't starve, right?
Right.
So is this situation the same? No, but the overall idea of this text, though, I mean, somebody did mean to harm you.
Yeah.
And looks like they still are trying.
Yeah, they're
still obviously.
We're calling Lee Marie too. Keep going here.
But and I don't know if God.
This is Lee Marie.
I don't believe that God intended this to happen so that you could. But this situation, if you give it back to Him, which I think you have, He'll use it for some good.
Absolutely.
And so, and the saving of many lives. Obviously, Joseph is talking about actually physically saving people's lives from starvation. But you were talking about potentially using this as a lesson to help people and saving maybe the emotional, lives of children or physical lives. So maybe take that with you today.
I will.
And that's Genesis 50:20.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You,
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
my sister in Christ. She's not my physical sister. No, we're not sisters.
No,
She's my. And here's another one of my sisters, Lee Marie. I wish Katie could hear you, but you said you had some information about possibly recovering fraud money. Talk to me, sister.
Yes,
Again,
because
Sister in Jesus.
my mother got scammed out of several thousands of dollars, and this was in another state. I had called the local PD, and they said, there's nothing you can do, kiss it goodbye. I called the county district attorney, same thing, nothing you can do. Called the state attorney general, nothing you can do. Went online and started researching to see, and lo and behold, there was a law enforcement agency in Michigan, because the fraud, actually, my mother had sent the cash to Canada. There was a law enforcement agency in Michigan that was very interested. I got up early, several days in a row, to talk with them. Okay. Lo and behold, long story, but how it ends is they were able to go to the FedEx equivalent in Canada and intercept that cash before the people got it, because they had been working, following, trying to catch these guys, and they didn't have, everything they needed. When I called with a fresh case, they were very excited. My mother got every penny back. So I just want to say that even when, law enforcement or whoever says there's nothing you can do, go online and see, because maybe there is.
Okay. Thank you, sweetheart, very much. And that's one thing. That's one of the reasons why my husband was getting so angry last night, is he was like, we have got to get somebody to help us with this. Why is everybody telling us there's nothing we can do? And so that's where he was getting frustrated. He goes, we've got to push back against this, and this is just evil. And again, I don't know if you heard what I was telling Katie. I said, I'm going to use this to point out to the kiddos just how vulnerable they are, because look at what they can do. They did it to me, and I am nobody's. I am not that person that you would think would be vulnerable to this. And
Yeah,
they
they're getting
called me.
trickier. It's an
Huh?
industry. They're in these huge warehouses. They know exactly what to say. My mother was not I mean, she was very sharp. I could not believe that she fell for it.
Yeah.
So anybody can be a victim. And yeah, the law enforcement agencies, I know they're really frustrated because in a way there's nothing that they can do, but you can go online, research, see who else is working on these cases, because that's the only way we're going to get it stopped.
I love you, friend. Thank you for that.
God
Thank you
bless
for those
y'all.
encouraging words, and just keep praying because, man,
Well,
they're
that's true
texting me
too.
this
There was a
morning.
lot. There was
They're
a lot of
texting me
praying
this
going
morning.
on. So
Yeah. Love you, friend.
okay, love you, bye.
sister. Thank you. What she was saying, Katie, I know you couldn't hear that, but she was saying that her mother got scammed.
Okay.
And they were able to get the money back, and it was through a law enforcement agency that was working on this something similar in Michigan. She went online because all the locals, couldn't help her because they didn't have anything going with it. But she did find a law enforcement agency up in Michigan that was working on something similar, and they were able to stop it.
Oh.
And she said she was so surprised that her mother's super sharp. She goes, I couldn't believe my mom got sucked into it. And it's like, I can't believe they sucked me into it. When my husband said to me last night, he's like, you mean you've only been texting her today? And as soon as he said that, I turned and looked at him, and it was like, immediately, I knew. Immediately. And it was like a brick had just hit me in the face. He goes, you look like somebody just smacked you over. He goes, because as soon as he goes, you mean you haven't been talking to her? You've been texting her? He thought we were talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as soon as he was busy, we're doing some remodeling on the house. He'd been busy, and he knew some stuff was going on. He didn't know. I'd kind of lost track of how much money was involved because I was just like, oh. And then when I added it up, I'm like, oh my word, this is a lot of money. I hope they're going to get me a check tomorrow. He goes, he goes, call her and make sure she's going to get you a check tomorrow. I said, well, we've been texting. He goes, hold it. You've been texting her all day? And I said, yeah. And immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Right. As soon as you say it out loud Oh
my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And that's okay. So that's another if some, yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, sister. It's 8 o'clock.
It is 8 o'clock. Wow.
Thank you for just letting me. Thank you for being here.
Last night I was like, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but you know what?
God did.
God provides.
Yeah. To the tune of $5,000.
I don't know. Yeah. But
yeah. I don't know. But
right.
yeah, guys, please don't let yourself be the next victim. And again, if you are, it's not what you did. People are like, oh, I can't believe I was beating myself up so bad last night. I felt so bad. I'm still embarrassed. And I'm going to stay embarrassed because I know there's going to be people going, did you hear what you turned in? Did you hear?
Yeah, well,
it's not helpful. Please don't laugh at me. I just please spread the word that it can happen to anybody.
Yes, that's it. It can happen to any of us. Yeah.
And it's just not something that I've never been one to make fun of this people that happened to, but I did think, how in the world could you let that happen? You get kind of high and mighty like, well, I would never let that happen. Super humbling when it does happen to you.
Right, yes.
And it's not something I did. It's what was done to me. Yes. That was what my husband prayed over me last night, and I appreciate it. Now, thank you, sister, for coming and letting me be and being my sounding board today.
You're welcome.
Being my counsel. Thank you.
I didn't do anything.
Thank you, guys. And again, all the things going on in the county this weekend. There's so much going on. You've got the play tonight, Little Shop of Horrors, Coopertown Middle, 7 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, 2 o'clock as well. Oh, March Chapel Barbecue is tomorrow 4 to 8, I think. You can go and get you a plate for $15. They've got, of course, Trash and Treasure happening up in Cross Plains today and tomorrow. And there is a big event that I'm going to, of course, Martha's Song's going on, the Seeds of Hope Garden Tour. And there's also this big ministry thing. I'm trying to find it. This is from my friend Lisa Fort that comes in here on the first Friday. Let me see if I can find this. You can still go. And it's tonight. It's at a church over by the interstate. And I can't think of the name of it. Oh, I'm on the wrong page here. I'll run real quick. I'll put the link up, but it's from the Redeem Her Now. If you go to Redeem Her Now on Facebook, you can find this. It's a big men and women's conference tonight and tomorrow that you can go be a part of, and we're going to be there for part of it at least. But I've got so many other things I got to check into. I don't think I'll be there for the entirety of it, but that's something. I will be there tonight, and I think I need it after today. I really need it.
There you go.
So Lisa, I'm coming to the conference tonight. I will see y'all there, and we'll see you around at Trash and Treasures, Martin Chapel's Barbecue, Seeds of Hope Garden Tour. Go see Little Shop of Horrors. I don't know. I probably missed something, but it's a good
lot.
day.
It's a
good
great
weekend.
good weekend. Yeah.
Well, and it's all stuff that you could do it all. You literally could do everything I mentioned. Because you can pop in, and a lot of this stuff is self-guided. So go do it and be a part of Robertson County. And please, when you're out there, please share my story today so we can maybe keep this from happening to somebody else. And again, get your kids off the screens. Amen. Because they're just as vulnerable as I was yesterday. So please get them off those screens. Get to church this weekend. Invite them to church, Katie, before we go.
Go to church this weekend.
Tell them where you go.
I go to Gateway Christian Church in Clarksville up on Exit 11.
What time y'all meet?
10 a.m.
And we meet at 9 a.m. at Madison Church of Christ, and we'd love you to be a part of any. If you don't have a body of believers, man, get one.
Right. If you don't have a body of believers, go join us. Go to church. Go to church.
Find a church
your
to
church
be
family.
A part of, guys.
Yep.
We love you. Thank you for being a part of this, guys. And don't be the next one to get scammed, y'all. Learn from me, please, and spread the word. Love you guys. God bless. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a wonderful weekend.